So welcome to the Let's Talk podcast, socialised podcast. I've been trying to get you on for ages.
I know, well, to be fair, it's been very hectic, but we need to cheers first.
Cheers.
I can't cheers.
We've got lipstick all over the glasses.
No, like we haven't had half a glass already,
I know.
but anyway. First time being a podcast and had one.
Is it? Well,
like it.
It's more down to earth, isn't it?
And
More
it
fun.
means that people will be more looser and say things.
Exactly.
I know your game.
You know my game. I know that you'll say more things as that wine goes
I'm
down.
literally only one glass and that's all it takes. So yeah.
Good times, I'll
Hold
start
tight.
asking you the questions. I'll ask you the controversial stuff at the end then.
Please.
No, I'm talking about really. Right, so I want to start off with about the protection parent. Can you tell me a little bit of an overview about it? And then what I want to do is take you back
Okay.
and talk about your child and things.
So the protection parent is a insurance company. We basically find clients the best insurance available for them and their family, and we are very passionate about making sure that parents are protecting the children. So when I first started in insurance, I couldn't get my head around that I had 3 kids and no one had ever spoke to me about if your child gets cancer, how are you paying your bills if you're in hospital. And, you know, when something just grabs you and you're like, I need this, there's something in this work that I need to run with. And I literally focused my entire, I suppose, plan in terms of what I want to do for the future around. I want to be the person who's making sure parents understand that the children need to be covered as well. And it just went from there. And now, obviously, we do all types of insurance, but I think I'm predominantly known for, like, family insurance.
I love what you've done with the protection parent. I'll talk about your marketing strategy because I love how you started the business because you were totally different and totally out there. But first of all, I want to talk about your childhood and how you got where you are today. Obviously, like school, how did you do at school?
I was a proper... I was going to sound like hot. Right, so like, you know when you have a geek, but a cool geek? So like someone who was... I had loads of friends and I was really popular, but I absolutely adored school. Loved it, loved learning. Like the type that like my friends... Am I allowed to swear on this?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, my friends like still take the piss now that like we'd be in the dinner hall and a teacher would walk in and I'd go and want to sit with them and like understand something they'd said in a lesson better or work on my coursework. And I always got the bus in early to do like revision classes on a morning and stay after school. Like I loved school and I thoroughly enjoyed every minute I was there because I think you're not a child long enough. My dad was very like big on how important school was and you're only a kid for so little, and it really stuck in my head. So yeah, I loved it. Loved every minute of it.
What school did you go to?
I went to St Gerard's Primary in Hamilton, and then I went to Newlands for 3 months. Then I left and went to London for 3 years. Went to an all-girls school, and then I come back and went to St David's. Why? Because my mum and dad had, let's just say, some family issues, and we had to go to London because two of my dad's sisters lived down there. So it was like we weren't going somewhere totally different, like without anyone there. We knew like people there, and it was better to be somewhere where we had other people. And we were there for 3 years. Then my mum and dad broke up, and my mum rang my granddad, and he come and got us, and we went back to Middlesbrough.
What did you think about living in London and the all-girls school?
Like, again, I liked the learning. I always enjoyed learning, but all-girls school is very, very bitchy. And I was, the first year, I spent the majority of it in a library because I was just bullied by this girl who was horrid, like just literally made, because obviously I had a northern accent. I started later than they did, so it wasn't exactly ideal. I stuck out like a sore thumb. So the first year wasn't that great, but I still loved going to school. Just the librarian was me busy for a bit. And then I got a friend. That wasn't all bad. She was really nice. I was Karen. But I had straight A's and all that. I didn't output work.
Well, you were besties in the library.
Besties with Karen.
Love it.
So, and then, we came back in year 9. So I started back at David's mid-year 9. My best friend, Chloe, had gone to St David's and I grew up with Chloe. So I was sound then because I went in with her and all her friends. So I had I already had like a friendship group sat there from like primary school. So it wasn't as bad then.
And then what happened? Did you want to go to college, or how was school? GCSEs, what did you get?
GCSEs, I got 9 Bs and 2 Cs.
Did you?
And it's just terrible for what I should have got.
No, that's amazing.
No, I was pretty on it when I said, like, I'm not so much now. I haven't got much common sense, but when I put my head into something, especially if I enjoy it, I'm really good at it. And I was predicted like 11 A stars. And it was because we come back to Middlesbrough and then there was boys and then there was drinking on Friday night. And it was, I was still doing what I needed to do, but my head wasn't as 100% focused as it should have been. Like, I could have been Matilda.
11 Bs?
No, 9 Bs
9
and 2
Bs.
Cs.
And I think that's amazing.
I mean, it's all right, but I could have done better. I know I could have done better.
I spelt fudge with mine. I swear to God.
I've heard that saying for years.
I swear to. I walked out my Spanish one. Oh man, the only ones I got any grades in was art and English.
Creativity.
Well, look at what you're doing now. Well, exactly. A for art.
Creativity.
Yeah, and that's it.
Well, see, that's all that matters. I mean, don't get me wrong, school's important. I'm not saying school's not important, but I would much rather have passion than education.
I think you can't teach passion and
so
enthusiasm.
Like, my kids, like, I'm very strong on, you need to do your homework, you need to be learning, but very proud, I'm going off on a tangent here, but a very proud moment for me the other day was when it was Halloween and we'd went trick-or-treating and Jackson's in year 7, so he's a little bit old for trick-or-treating, but I don't want to lose my baby. So took him trick-or-treating, come back, and I said, right, I'm going to jump in the shower, put a hawks pokes on for them, then we sat eating the sweets. And I come down and Jackson hadn't touched any of his sweets. And I said, well, I haven't eaten any sweets. I'm not going to eat them, I'm going to sell them. I said, what do you mean? He went, I'm going to take him to school tomorrow and I'm going to sell them. And I went, why are you doing that? He went, well, because then I can buy sweets with the money I make, but I'll also have more money. And I was like, so proud.
I'm so proud of you.
And then I said to him, right, if you make whatever profit you make this week, I'll double it and I'll take you to the shops and buy you more. And he was like, well, yeah. And I was like, yeah, because that's the type, for me, that bit, you can't teach. If he's got that, I'd rather, if he was doing well in that side of things, or like when he does DJ and he's learning how to DJ, like when he's passionate and he's putting the practice in and he's teaching himself how to do something, I think that's amazing. Not everyone is going to be academically intelligent. It doesn't mean that they're not going to do well. So, yeah, GCSEs aren't the big be-all and end-all.
I love that you incentivised him.
Yeah, I always incentivise them. I do that all the time. Charge your room, like, if you're this. Everything we do, I always give them something for it to know when the work get rewarded.
How old are your kids?
11, 8 next month, and 4.
Oh my God.
Busy.
Handful.
Yeah. I mean, they're all, honestly, unbelievable kids. I really am blessed with my children. They're so good and funny and, like, don't get me wrong, they can be arseholes, but they're, like, 90% of the time, they're really lovely to be around, so we're very, very lucky.
Yeah, I love that. So then after school, sorry, I'm going back, school, college, did you go to college?
So, because I absolutely loved learning, I was like 100%, I was the kid who always wanted to be something, right? I needed the stature, I'm going to move this up, I needed the I am a to make myself feel good, like, because we'd come, like, we lived on, like, quite a rough area in Emlington, and we'd had, like, not the idealist of, you know, house on the prairie upbringings, and I was like, I want to be this so that I can feel like I've done well. So I want to be a solicitor, I want to be a doctor, I want to be, you know, like one of those titles where it's like, I did well there, like that. Yeah. So naturally I needed to go to college because I wanted to do, I think when I first went to college, I was doing philosophy, science, biology, and law or something. Like, it was ridiculous what I was doing. And within 6 weeks, I was like, no, I can't stand it. And I've never, ever felt like that about learning. I was like, I hate it. And it was because I was trying to do something, not because I wanted to do it, because I felt like that's what I should be doing. So I packed it in after, I think it was after about 8 weeks. And then I went in to do accountancy, because that was the next title that sounded good. Hated that. Couldn't stand it. Imagine me being sat quiet, looking at a calculator 8 hours a day.
I can't imagine.
I was like, this. Is this what we do? Is this all we do? Because I don't like this. It's not good for my soul, this. Like, I need to speak. Like, it didn't happen. I was like, right, I've got this. Because I was just like, it was too much. So I did that for about, I think it was about 6 months. And where I was working, like, loved me. And I was like, I don't want to do this accountancy anymore. Like, it's killing me. I'm not enjoying this at all. And they were like, right, what if you did purchasing? So then they give me this role in purchasing where I was ordering all the bits, and it was a heating and plumbing company called H&B off Skippers Lane. And I loved it because you were like negotiating like prices and like trying to get things for cheaper. And, you know, if you saved some money, it was like a sale would be. And then that's where my education ended. Oh no, I went to uni.
You went to Teesside Uni?
Oh yeah, I did that.
What the hell?
Charge you half a glass of wine.
Half a glass and you've gone. Love it. Let's go out.
But yeah, but I didn't go to uni till later, that's why. I didn't go to uni till after I'd had Jackson.
Ah, right, okay.
So there's a big gap. So technically my transition of school to college to apprenticeship ended there. And I went and did purchasing, and then I left and went to chorus and got a job as a trainee buyer. And God, there's no way you want me to stop.
So where did you go? You went and you had Jackson?
No. So I was 18 then.
Yeah.
Then I went to chorus. Met probably one of the most inspirational women I've ever known. There was my boss. And within a year of being there, she said it's when it got shut down, everyone got made redundant. It was then. So I went to that was on the end of February, and on the beginning of January, and on the 1st of March, me and my friend went to America, got a 10-year visiting visa to America, and went and lived in LA and travelled around America. And I came back because I had to, after 6 months, you have to come back to be out the country, then go back in again. And I was like, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go do I wanted to do fashion buying. I wanted to like learn out there. And I was going to do my access course here, you know, so I had my qualification to get into uni once I got there. So I killed two birds with one stone and got pregnant.
As it is.
And then stayed.
Did you?
Yeah, I had to. I was pregnant.
So what happened when you went travelling though? Like the
we
6
went
months?
We went for 6 months.
Go?
Went to Vegas, San Francisco, New York. I've worked on Venice Beach in Cold Stone's ice cream, which was amazing. Like celebrities and that coming in, Julia Roberts coming in, like basketball players. Like it was amazing. It was so good. And then I went back. Like I never really wanted to stay here. Like I'm not saying I don't like where I live or that I'm not proud of where I'm from, but I never thought I would be living here. Yeah. Like forever. So I always imagined that I would not be here and I'd be in America or Spain, anywhere, somewhere, just not here. So
you came back, fell pregnant, yeah.
And Jackson.
Had Jackson. Oh my days. And then what happened?
Then my dad died. And then I was like, right, I need to do something with my life. Rather than just, I think, what was I doing at the time? I was working at Churchill. You know, my new offices are. Yeah. I actually used to work there doing car insurance in those offices. And I was pregnant when I was working there. I found out I was pregnant when I was working there. And then Jackson was 1. And I was like, this is going to sound so bad, but I'm just going to be honest. I originally went to uni because I thought, right, I need to get my head, like I don't want to be where I'm just either I live with my grandma, like living with my grandma and granddad. I want to get my own house. I want to get myself on the property ladder. And realistically, when I'm working part-time and I've got a baby, how am I going to afford to do that? Well, if I go to uni and I'm a single mum, I get grants. Yeah. So I was like, I'll go to uni, get a degree, get grants. I'll work whilst I'm at uni, save my grants, don't live on them. And then I'll be able to put a deposit down for a house and have a house for me and Jackson and get a degree. So that's why I originally went to uni. And I did English and creative writing because I liked English and I like that it's opinionated and you can, as long as you can justify what your opinion is and why you think that, then it's not really right or wrong. It's down to the eyes of the receiver. Whatever the quote is. And I think that's why I enjoy marketing so much now. Even though English isn't like a direct route into marketing, I learned how to spit, like to type, and I learned how to put my words into a good flow, I suppose. So I think that's why I think my degrees helped me eventually, but I certainly never went in with the intention that I was going to be a teacher or I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I liked English. I thought it'd be relatively easy for me to do because I understood it and I was good at it. So I did that.
And then from there, did you go work?
What did I do? I was working. We got made redundant. Jesus Christ, it sounds like I'm a 55-year-old. Got made redundant.
Fucking hell, mate. You've gone through a lot for
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then I got made redundant at the car insurance place, but Churchill shut its doors. So we made redundant there. So then I was like, right, what do I do now? So then I went and worked for a care company.
All right.
Doing personal care. And then I got, I'm draining myself. Then I went and got a job at Howden's because then I thought, right, what can I do? And I've always been good at sales and I've always been good at like dealing with people because when I was on the call centres, I was like one of the best, you know, where at the end when they're like, so can I talk to you about roadside assistance?
Yeah.
Like I was really good at that bit. And that's really hard. If you can get someone to listen to you about breakdown recovery at the end of when you've just rang and complained about something that took out a double payment, you're doing all right. And I was really good at it.
Do you know why that is though? Because you're down to earth and you're real.
Yeah. I'm quite good at building rapport with people.
Yeah.
And that's not because I'm intentionally trying to build rapport. It's because if you're just genuine, people naturally, without even realising it, warm to you. Not
agree.
Not everyone does. Some people might think, you're not my cup of tea, and that's fine. But especially in sales, I think it holds you in good stead to be who you are because you're only going to get clients who actually want to work with you. So, and I enjoyed the sales side of things. And my dad used to take me on the boot sales. My dad was a salesman, my granddad was a salesman. I was always around sales. And I just thought, there was this job working as a sales rep for Howden's just up there.
Yeah.
Done that. Was really, really good at it. Then got promoted to do kitchen designing and selling designing the kitchen, selling them. Did that. Was really good at that. And then I got pregnant with Alba. In between this, I had Teddy when I was at uni as well.
Hey, you just missed out.
I know. I had Teddy when I was at uni in my second year, and then did a dissertation with being 9 months pregnant with Teddy. Yeah, it was deep.
That's deep.
It was really hard.
That's hard.
Especially English and creative writing. I do 2 separate dissertations
9
for
months
each.
pregnant.
Yeah, 8, 7. Yeah, I think I was about 8 or 9 months pregnant.
No.
So yeah, that was bad. And then I got approached by my mortgage broker, who is Kev, and he's gorgeous. But he did my mortgages for a few years, and he was just like, "You're off at you. Like the way you do things is mental." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "You ask you for something, and 30 seconds later it's there. Like you're so on the ball." And I was like, I'm one of them people. If I've got to get something done, it gets done there and then. I can't think in my head, I'll do that later. If it can't be done there and then it gets wrote down, and I won't finish until it's done. And he was like, "You've got really good skills. You're not shy. You could talk to people. Why don't you do mortgages?" And I was like, "Nah, mortgages. I'm already scarred from accountancy. I've got PTSD. I'm not doing those types of figures. I don't want to do it." And he's like, "Well, what about insurance? You'd be really good at insurance." And then, whilst I was on maternity with Alba, I learned how to trained to be an insurance advisor.
Wow.
And then started in insurance, and then cheers to the protection parent.
Cheers to the protection. So then, how did you, in a roundabout way, because you were working, and how did you realise that you wanted to start your own company?
So when I started, the reason I took wanted to do the insurance is that I wanted flexibility. So obviously I had 3 kids at this point.
Yeah.
And Keo was working away. So he was working away.
How old was the littlest at this point, by the way? Because they must have been young.
I was still pregnant. You mean Teddy?
Yeah.
So Teddy was 3. So whilst I was training, I was still pregnant. And then when I gave birth, that's when I started doing work. So I was still on maternity. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So my maternity was 9 months.
Yeah.
So I was training whilst I was heavily pregnant. And then I started seeing clients and things whilst I was thingy. Went back when Alba was little. Went back to work at Howden's for 3 months. And then I was like, right, all I need to do is earn £1,000 a month. If I earn £1,000 a month, instead of me I'd spent my entire time as a mother putting my children at childcare, and it cost a fortune. When Jackson and Teddy were little and I was at Howden's, I was spending just under £1,000 a month. I was picking up 1,700. So when you worked it out, I was working for half pay.
Yeah.
And I kept doing it because I knew I wanted to be something. And I was like, if I'm going to climb up this corporate ladder, it's tough. I'm going to have to suck it up and do it. It is what it is. Just get on with it. And I obviously did that for a while. And then when I got pregnant with Alba and had Alba, I was like, I can't physically, this is ridiculous to do this again and start again doing this childcare thing. So I thought, right, maybe it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to go to America and live in America. That didn't work. I came back, obviously got pregnant. Then I had Teddy, then I had Alba. I was married. Keo had a good job. And I was like, maybe I just need to accept that I am not going to be a business owner. I'm not going to run my own business. I'm just meant to be. Have a pattern. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. I'm not in any way saying there's anything wrong with mothers who are full-time, mothers who are part-time, mothers who work 10 hours a week or pick up shifts whenever they feel like it. That sound, whatever floats your boat. But for me, I was very career-driven and very motivated and ambitious. And it, being totally honest, it upset me thinking that I had to accept that you're going to have to be one of these mothers who is a mother and works part-time, just does school hours, so you're not paying all the, childcare out. So I thought when I got offered the insurance, I thought, well, that's perfect because I can work when I want to work. It's self-employed. As long as I pick up £1,000 a month, it's fine. That's what I was picking up at Howdens, working part-time if I went back part-time. So I'll be happy with that. And within 3 months, whilst I was working at Howdens and looking after 3 kids while Keo was working away for 4 weeks, 6 weeks at a time, I earned more in 3 months than I would in a year at Howdens. And I was like, I'm really good at this. Like, there's something, like, and it's just, without sounding corny, it's just the way life is when it throws things at you and everything happens for a reason. I never wanted to do insurance. I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing now, but I was bloody good at it. And it ignited something in me that I thought I had to forget about. So as soon as I started doing it, I put myself 100% into it, put everything. I went from wanting to do it part-time and literally see my children for about 2 hours a week because I was literally working 80, 90 hours a week. And I got to about 18 months in and I just thought, I don't want to build someone else's dream. I want to build my own. And if I've done all of this in the situation I've been in with, like the family, my husband working away, having 3 kids and juggling this job, why can't I do it for myself and put all this, everything I'm sacrifice it for me? Yeah, I was on good money. I was earning a very decent wage, but it's not just about the money. It's about making sure that you grow in your own dream as well. So I thought, sod it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Worst that's going to happen is it doesn't work out. There's plenty of other insurance companies that'll take me because I'm good at what I do. So I just did it. So
you started your marketing strategy through TikTok.
Yeah.
Which was at the time brand new and everyone thought it was for kids and, like the younger generation. However, you started yours and you used to do, I saw you dress up and everything and you'd be one person and then the next person you'd be like the nurse telling someone.
And then I'd have Keo involved, getting shot down the stairs.
And then you'd like progress to the kids or like, your husband being involved. But at first it was all you, wasn't it? Yeah. And I suppose what I liked about your stuff at the beginning is your TikToks. So like at first they weren't getting very many likes at all, but you kept going, and I think like everyone kept seeing them. And then all of a sudden they were getting more and more likes, and then you were everywhere, and then you were getting more and more funky with your TikToks, and they were getting
adventurous.
Yeah, they were getting better and better. So at the first it was just you talking, and then like the words coming up and you pointing and stuff, and then it was like the outfits, and then
I was flying through Alba Park.
Yeah.
In my Superwoman costume.
And then the Keo would be involved, and then the kids, and then I suppose you've grew from there. But how did you know that, or what did you think? Like, why TikTok for a start?
Right, so TikTok was because I started doing videos because insurance is boring as hell. Really is boring. I don't care how you dress it up, it's boring. People don't interact with it. If they understood it, they would interact with it. Yeah. But to make someone understand something, you've got to make it appealing. So how do you make it appealing? You either make it attractive by giving them something, which I wasn't going to do because the product's good enough without needing to give them something for free. Or you change the way people view it. And if that means that you're laughing and taking the piss out of me, or you're thinking something's funny that I'm doing, that's fine. But once you've looked at that 8, 9, 10 times, you're going to start actually, what does she do? What is it she's actually talking? Subconsciously, these clients, these potential customers are seeing it, and without realising it, are already recognising your brand, understanding what you do. Have you seen her who does insurance on TikTok? So I just thought, instead of me just doing these videos, which is how I started, just doing normal talking videos, and I was really, I wasn't bad at them, but there was a lot more pressure because if you've used TikTok, you can stop and start. So if you say something wrong, you can take it off. You do something, look like a dick, you can take it off. When you're doing a full minute and a half video in one go and you do a mistake, it's heartbreaking because you've got to start again, and it's very demotivating. So when I was on my best friend's Stendu, there was a lad called Michael on it, and he was doing TikToks, and it was when it was, like you say, brand new.
Brand new, yeah.
And he was showing me these TikToks, and I was crying, laughing. Anyone who doesn't look at TikTok, go on TikTok. You will not find a happier place. Like, I mean, like, my makeup was off the other day. Like, I literally went and got the kids from the door. Like, the kids get dropped off on a bus. And I went and opened the door, and my kids were like, what's wrong with you, mum? And I didn't realise that all my mascara had come down my face. I'd been laughing my head off at this TikTok. Anyway, it's hilarious. So make sure you go on it and look at me. But like, he was showing me these videos, and I was like, this is hilarious. And he was like, yeah, no, these all take the mick out of me because no one's using it, because TikTok is for kids. TikTok wouldn't dare. And then slowly, like everything else, once one starts doing it, they start following, and now it's everyone's downloading TikTok and everyone's watching TikTok. And on that Stendu, he was showing me like trends and stuff, and I was like, that's hilarious. And I just thought, I said to him, do you think I could do that for insurance? And he was like, yeah, it'd be class. Like, loads of people do business on it, blah, blah. If you start now, you could be one of the first. Like, instead of waiting until everyone else is doing it, because you know yourself, like, how hard is it to be recognised on Instagram or Facebook now? Like, the monsters, the huge, like, people have been on there for years.
To get a like and a click,
It's insane, and it's very, very, it's like soul destroying when you put so much time and effort into something and it gets no interaction.
Totally right, yeah.
So I thought, well, I'm doing it already on these things and I'm not getting anything, so why didn't I do it on TikTok? So he come round, it was snowing, it was just after Christmas in the January, and I started with the Protection Parent in the January, and I was like, I'm going to start the Protection Parent, fresh start, my own company, and it's going to be all TikTok. That's it, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to put my head into just TikTok. So he come round and trained me, taught me how to use TikTok for the full day, bless him. And we created this TikTok together. And it's, if you can see, obviously, if you go on my profile, but when I look at it now, it was so shit compared to like what it should be at. But you have to put time and effort into it, because it's not easy. It's not like something you can just do straight away. And I just went with it. I just thought, if I don't do it over and over again, I'm not going to know whether it's going to work or not. Like, it's that, I love that meme, you know, have you seen it where like they're digging away for a diamond and he turns around and he's this much away from getting the diamond? I always think in my head, everything I'm doing, if I stop it now, unless I'm stopping it because it's making me unhappy, I'm going to keep going, because I don't know how far away I am from that, what I'm aiming for.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
So when you started out, how were you getting your ideas and things? Was it just like obviously experiences or people asking for certain insurances?
Yeah, like, so well, at first it was all funny, wasn't it? So
it was the nurses and things like that.
Nurse, and like Emmy, my friend, who's also unbelievable on TikTok, she was giving me ideas. Meg, I was paying, mortgage Meg now, my mortgage advisor, right? She was she actually started with me.
Yeah.
I was paying her £10 to come and film me. And she was like, right, come on, what ideas have you got? And her job would be to think of ideas through the week before she come and filmed, and we'd do all our filming on the Friday night. So it was just like, just asking other people, looking at other people's like TikToks and thinking, how could I make that into insurance? Like using other people's stuff to twist it into what I was doing.
It's really interesting, that, isn't it? Because you're the first person to do that, I think.
I think that you know of. There'll be people in the industry who'll say I wasn't. I think I was one of the first to start using TikTok, especially the way I was using it.
To grow it like you did.
Yeah.
Was literally from the beginning, and you just kept going and going and going.
So like that's all. The Protection Parent has only been known with TikTok.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, which was a decision I made because I thought, I want to do something different. No one else is doing this, so if I do it. then I always think me in my head, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Doesn't work. I'll go back to Instagram and Facebook. That's getting me nothing.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't try, you don't know.
I agree. So when you started the Protection Parent, how far did you get before you had to hire for a start? Because I know you've got quite a few members of staff now, haven't you?
I started with an admin, then I got an apprentice 9 months in, Millie, my absolute angel. And then I took on staff in the January.
Yeah.
So like within the first year. And then I've got 4 advisors, 1 mortgage advisor, 2 admin.
Amazing.
And like this year has been very chaotic on a personal level, and I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. So I don't think this was the right year to take on more than 4. But by next year, I think that'll be triple at minimum. Like I want to grow very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think I can, because the staff I've got now, even though, bless them, they haven't had my full attention that they should have had, they're doing amazing, like absolutely amazing. And all they're doing is what I have done for me. And the hardest part about taking on staff is working out whether you're actually just a fluke or whether you've got something you can train, whether you've got something you can show the people to do and grow themselves. And that was the biggest risk, was that I was going to take these staff on and be like, oh shit, actually, it's just because it's me. It's not because I can't. There's a big difference between being the student and being the teacher. Do you know, like being the one who does it and actually being able to get the results to the person who's... Yeah, tell me. To the person who actually teaches them to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're all doing amazing, so it's obviously teachable.
So...
Hey, stop.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You're going to be on the floor?
Probably.
Love it. So I was going to talk about your office, but I think that's a bit later down the line. So how long have you been in business now?
Been in insurance since March 2019.
So pretty much like near me, really.
Yeah, so before, which batters my head that's 4 years in March.
Yeah,
isn't it?
That's
mental. But it's because of COVID, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's because of COVID.
Yeah.
COVID basically took away 18 months, didn't it?
How did you find business through COVID?
Well, I was still at my old firm when it first happened, COVID. And I was a big believer in you had to do everything. Like, I feel like I've done a lot of transitioning in a short space of time. Like, I was a big believer in you had to do face-to-face appointments. Yeah. For me to be able to do insurance, I had to go and sit with them, see them, have a cuppa, build rapport.
Yeah.
A bit like when people used to come in and buy a kitchen. They came in, they had a cup of tea, you sat and talked to it, showed them the kitchen, and then they bought the kitchen. And I used to look at it the same way, like I'm basically advising them on what to get. But if they haven't met me, how are they going to trust me to do a good job? Like, they need to feel comfortable with me. So then when COVID hit, I was like, nah, done. That's it. Business is done. Can't do it anymore. It's over. And obviously you have like your week of stress, and like everyone did, just sort of thought, what the hell's going on? Yeah. And then I went, again, I've got 2 options. I either wrap in now, or I have to make...
Fight.
I have to make phone work. I have to make phone... The only way to do it, phone, Zoom, whatever it is, make that work. So I did that. It was absolutely unbelievable. And then, like you always do, if you knew then what you know now, I was like, I cannot believe for the last year I've been driving. And I mean, like, I'd drive an hour and 20 minutes for an appointment. If a client wanted insurance, I'd drive. Because I'd be like, no, I can't. And people would say, just do it over the phone. I'd say, no, like every client deserves the same interaction, the same service. I'm driving. All that time I wasted, not wasted because I learned, but it proved, COVID proved to me I could do just as good a job over the phone as I could do in face-to-face. So it was, the transition was good because COVID taught me a lot. COVID taught me how to be resilient. It taught me how to move with what goes on around you. Like, we can't stay static. You've got to find a way to make it work. Life doesn't always go by our rules, and you've got to play by what it throws at you. And COVID was a huge learning curve for me.
So from there, when everyone started coming out with COVID, did you find it easier, or did people want to see you face to face?
People hate people now.
Yeah. So just stick with Zoom or whatever,
Yeah, so now it's got even more the other side. So now, because...
Is it easier though?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Because what it does is it makes you more proactive, and it makes you, like, your time spent when you're doing things much more constructive.
Yeah, you're not spending an hour and 3 hours anyway. It would have probably been
driving,
at an appointment.
Sitting, yeah. So now what we do is I don't do phone appointments anymore. I send out a link with everything that is needed on a form, and I have pre-recorded all the. Basically, it's like an interactive appointment with me on video.
Ah, right, okay.
So like every section's like, right, this part we're asking this for this and this reason. This is for if you get this type of insurance, and this is what it'll do. Then the next section, right, this is your health and medical. We're asking this because if you have certain conditions, it might affect what insurance. You're like explaining it all the way through. And they fill it out. I get all that information. We do all our research. I then give them a ring and go, right, we've done all the research. So an hour and 20-minute conversation is now 20 minutes. I then send them over the quotes, what the options are, then give them another ring and say, right, any questions? Which one would you like? There you go, that's it. So literally now, and because everything I do is through, like I'd say 90% of my business is through social media.
Oh, absolutely,
so if they see, it's that continuity of what they're used to. So if you think that 90% of my business are coming through, say, TikTok or LinkedIn, where they're seeing my videos, them getting a link with a video questionnaire is within brand and is what they expect.
Absolutely.
Because all they've seen is my videos.
Yeah.
So then it's like, oh, it's Karla.
I love that.
So
yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I was going to say, what do you think? Obviously, you understand the power of social media. How has social helped your business?
My business wouldn't be here without social media. The entire business is run through social media, and anyone who thinks social media is not important is an idiot. I'm sorry.
Holla fucking you. You know what I mean?
They are. It's just ridiculous. It's honestly the way. It's the same thing as TikTok. When I first started using TikTok, and everyone was laughing and saying, "Wouldn't dare, it's cringy as." And I mean, like good friends of mine saying, "You're embarrassing yourself," and I was like, "No, because." Without being rude, you've got shepherds and you've got sheep, and you've got people who'll do things before other people start doing it.
Yeah.
And now, I'd say 9 out of 10 of my friends have got TikTok now. Oh, I've seen that TikTok. And I'm like, oh, are we loving TikTok now? Are we?
TikTok's the best.
2 years in, are we? Is it not for children anymore? Like, and it's the same with people who are in business now and they think social media is not important. Like, I know I haven't been in business very long, and there'll be people who are a lot more experienced than me who've got a lot more to say in terms of backing up what they think. But I am talking about, if you look into the future, what do you see? If you aren't getting on that train quickly, you're going to be getting left behind and waiting around with everyone else. Like, get on social media, because it's where everything's going. And you've got to think, eventually, if TikTok is all for children, let's just say it is, those children are going to want mortgages. And those children are going to have children.
Yeah.
And someone who has been doing it for 10 years when they were children, they're going to associate that person over someone who's brand new and just been doing it 6 weeks. Like, you've got to think that your next generation of clients are going to be, what's a posh word for the next gens?
Gen Z.
Gen Z, that's
Gen
it, yeah.
Z.
I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Gen Zs. They're all on social media.
Yeah.
So if you aren't there, who's your client?
Yeah. You're totally right.
It's all right. I'll do some marketing for you.
Love it. Yeah, that's all I needed there. That push. I'm just going to take that snippet.
You are on social media, you're an idiot.
I'll take that snippet and use it in my marketing. Thank you very much. So, where we are now, we've just got a new office.
Yes, which is quite nice. The little story that worked there when I was pregnant with Jackson. Got finished there in my second year of uni because we got made redundant, and I was doing car insurance. And then when the person who was sorting out my new offices rang me and was like, "Oh, this house has come up, this new one's getting renovated called Churchill House," and I was like, "I used to work there." And then I'm actually working in the same floor on the same place I was now where I was then, only I'm running my own insurance company, which is like a pure full circle. 10 years later, literally 10 years, a decade. I got finished in 2012, and obviously I got this in September.
Has it?
You know, so it's amazing. I love it. I like the fact that we can have our own place. Like, I've always worked from home since I opened the business. But again, it's not as if I'm saying I've worked at home for 10 years. It was like about 18 months, a year maybe. So it wasn't a long time.
I hate working at home.
Well, I do now. I'm in an office, but you get into a rut. Like, I get why people were like, oh, you know, if we can work from home, let's work from home. Because I got into a point of, well, I literally get up. My kids get a bus to school now.
Yeah.
So from September, they just get on the bus to school, all of them. Don't need to do a school run. I can literally start working from 8:30 in the morning. But that change of actually driving to an office, going into work mode, not putting a load on or doing the washing up or being like, I feel as if you're a lot more relaxed when you're in the house. Whereas when you come into office, when I go to my office, I'm like, right, I'm in work mode now. I've got to get shit done.
Yeah.
Because I'm going home at whatever time. So I like the separation now. I would never go back.
I couldn't. But it was partly because when I had Luca, I was in lockdown and I was working. So I couldn't like do both, I suppose. Because he was a baby. He was like 9 months or whatever. And I started going back to work properly 7 months or whatever. And then you're right, you get distracted by like the washing or something. And so I just love being at work.
It is. It's smart. It's a break as well, like we were saying, weren't we? Like there's a nice break mentally going into work and just being you.
Being you.
Yeah. Not being mum or not being sorting the house out or not trying to get a million things done. It's just you're going into work, you're being who you want to be and you're growing you and the business, which I enjoy that. I like the separation.
I think and it's like what you said as well, like you said about pressure on women and mums especially. I totally agree with that. So it's nice to hear someone else say what you said as well. Yeah,
nice to admit. That's why the whole Money Making Mothers podcast was purely about that, because it used to wind me up that you get like this view on, but you're choosing to work.
Yeah.
But hold on, no one had anything to say when I was working 44 hours a week for Howdens. No one said I was a terrible mother then, or no one said how come you choosing to go to work over your kids. It was as if you've got to go to work. But the second you become self-employed, it's you're choosing to do that. Yeah. Why are you working 40 hours? You don't have to. I still have the same bills, hon. Still got to pay the same things. It's just running my own, building my own business instead of someone else's.
It's a passion. I love that you've got a passion and you want to go for it as well, and be a mum and be this and
my kids to see that. Like I want my kids. Everyone's different. You're never going to get two people who think exactly the same. And I like that my kids will, and they might get to 20, 25 or whatever and say, Mum, I didn't like that you used to work all the time. Yeah. And you don't know. They might turn around to 25 and be really successful, really motivated, ambitious people and say, you were the biggest inspiration. We used to watch what you did and, we loved the way you used to juggle everything. But you don't know. No one knows right from wrong. There's no rule book.
I'm hoping Luca would turn around and be like, I'm dead proud. Or like one day look up and be like, that's my mum.
Yeah. But they also might resent you.
Yeah, yeah.
At the end of the day, no one knows which one it's going to be. And you might have, I might have two of my kids who say, I hated it. I might have one of them who say, I loved it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I just strongly believe that for you to be the best man possible, you've got to be the happiest version of yourself. Otherwise, you're not giving them your all. Yeah. My happiest version of me is when I'm working and I feel fulfilled and I feel like I'm using my brain and I'm reaching my goals as well as being a mum. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not just a mum, I'm Karla. And a mum and a wife. But yeah, that's my little soapbox on women.
I like that. Because I enjoyed that podcast, the mum one. Because I used to watch it when it was like lockdown-ish, wasn't it?
That's it started in lockdown.
Yeah, because I remember watching it and thinking, I can relate.
Yeah.
I can relate.
I'm such a shit man, but I want to be successful.
I need to do the business, but you're hanging off me. I'll watch these women think the same.
Most people do, but it's just like, it depends on your mentality. I've got friends who want to be full-time mums. I've got friends who like doing a bit of both. And then you've got people like also like working fully and then, doing what you can in between with the kids. Like I work Monday to Thursday, I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I can choose when I'm off on holiday. I'm my own boss. Like there's pros and cons for both, but at the end of the day, it's just if you're happy. That's what matters. Your version of happiness, because no one's is right or wrong.
I agree. Is there any low points about being in business that you've experienced?
It can be quite lonely, I think. And I don't mean lonely as in like, oh, I'm sad and I'm lonely. I mean lonely as in the buck stops for you. And if things go wrong, you've got no one to blame but you. Like when I used to work at Howdens, for example, if the team never hit their bonus, it wasn't just my fault, it was everyone's fault. And it was, we did this and we did that. Whereas if I don't hit a certain target or I don't do something the way I would have liked to, I've got no one to blame but myself. And that part of it is mentally quite pressurising. You feel very isolated. It's very intense. But you can't have everything. It's got to be, you've got to have something that pushes you to not get to that point. Do you know what I mean? Like, so although it's a downside, it's also a motivating side because you want to avoid that situation. Like, I've had it happen a few times and it's not nice, and it knocked me, because when you're so passionate about something and you mess up, it proper knocks your confidence. But it did for me. I was knocked for six for a bit. And knowing to trust your gut, I think everyone thinks trusting your gut is really, like, that's the be all and end all, and it is. I'm a big believer in your gut. But if I had trusted my gut, I wouldn't be where I am now, because sometimes your head rules over your heart, and then your heart ends up being right, but you needed to go through that to be able to learn not to do it again.
Yeah.
Or to know, to have confidence in yourself, to trust your gut. I know that sounds really contradictory, but it is. Like, I didn't want to go into insurance. Didn't trust it. Didn't thought it was too good to be true. Something about the situation I didn't like. And my gut, let's say, like, when I was there, when I was at my first firm in insurance, I was sort of looked as not a team player. There's a reason for that, because my gut held me back a lot of the time. And my gut was right, saying to believe in. But if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be where I am now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So your gut it's important to have confidence, to trust your gut. But at the same time, sometimes you've got to go through those highs and lows to know that, right, I've learned from that now. And I know that when my gut says to do that, that's what I do. So being lonely and only having yourself to sort of blame is probably the lowest part.
What about if you had to give someone some advice who was starting a business?
I've just answered that question there, really. But like,
no, because that was the low point.
Yeah, but like, if
you could go back and someone was like, Karla, like, I want to start a business. Tell me some advice about, you know, like, if I'm going to start, what do I expect?
Don't give a shit. Literally, it's so plain and basic. But if in January 2021, I'd have listened to all the people who said I was embarrassing, I was cringy, it was unprofessional, it was like a joke, I would not be doing what I'm doing now. Wouldn't have offices, wouldn't have 6 staff, wouldn't be growing at a pace that I would never ever imagined I could have been doing, and have everything I ever wanted. I would never have done that if I'd have cared. And when I say don't care, you are going to care. You're a human. I cried. It upset me, knocked me. But I knew that what I wanted was more important than what people thought.
Yeah.
And again, coming back to you've only got yourself to blame. If someone else was starting over, I'd say to them, if this is your last shot, imagine this is your last shot at doing what you want. If you can hand on heart say you've done everything you could possibly do to continue on that goal to where you want to be, and it fails, so what? It is what it is. You tried your best, you crack on, it wasn't meant to be. But if you don't, because you cared, because you listened, because you let other people make you doubt yourself, then that's going to be a very, very hard pill to swallow when it comes to it, when you haven't reached where you want to go because you let other people influence how you felt. Like, all that matters is where you want to go, and how you get there really is irrelevant to everybody else. So don't let other people get in your way and just go for it, because I've seen TikToks loads of times that say, when you see a person who says it is what it is, run, because they're psychopaths. Because you know that if you meet a person who says it is what it is and they genuinely believe that it is what it is, you know that you can't affect them. But that's the mentality, like, and I've only grown that mentality in the last 2 years. Anything that happens, just go, it is what it is. If I can change it, I'll do something about it. If I can't, I have to move on, because what am I gaining? You don't like what I'm doing, it is what it is. I fail and I don't reach a certain target, it is what it is, I'll do it next time. I literally live my life with me and Keo take the piss out of each other, because every time we don't get something or something goes wrong, he goes, it's what it is, isn't it? Yeah, it is what it is. Right, let's move on. So
that's a good piece of advice, that.
It is what it is.
You're like, I've answered that. Well, you have not answered that. That was a really good answer to that question. Cheers. We'll have a sip. Right, okay, so I ask everyone this. I'm going to ask you as well. I'm going to have a sip. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing? If you could do anything, what would you be?
Santa.
No, you're not allowed to say that.
Why?
No fictional characters involved in this.
Sorry, have you got any proof to say it's fictional?
Yeah.
Where? Saying
No.
Christopher was a person?
No, you've got a name. So you a fashion buyer, you said?
What do you mean?
No, you're not allowed to be Santa.
Right, I wouldn't be a fashion buyer.
Go on then.
I would be...
I'm not going to the next person and being like, oh, well, Karla said Santa.
You can be a mermaid. I'd be a singer. I used to... Why are you shocked at this?
Because I'm shocked at everything you say, to be quite honest.
When I was a kid, I used to do... I said I love learning. I used to do recorder, like every type of recorder. Like I was a pure recorder, arsehole. Recorder, tenor, the little piccolo thing. I did guitar and I did piano. And I was really good, like really good. And I used to sing and play the piano. And when we moved to London and things weren't, like when I was in Middlesbrough, my grandma used to take me for piano lessons. And I was like, did all my exams and stuff. And then when we went to London, when I was at the all-girls school, there was a music teacher. And my mum and dad couldn't end up affording because it was a fortune. It was absolute extortion, the price of piano lessons down there. And in the end, after like 6 months or something, I said, like, I can't do it anymore. And the piano teacher now, when I look back, I think, was he a bit of a creep? But we'll say he isn't, and he's just got a good heart. He was like, I will teach you for free. Come on at dinner time. You're too good. Like, you are too good to not like, continue. And I went into a talent competition and I won, come first, singing, playing the piano and doing Leanne rhymes, but I do off Coyote Ugly.
So are you going to sing?
No, absolutely, I don't sing
I
anymore.
really, really want
I don't sing anymore, honestly. Genuinely, I don't sing anymore.
Can you sing though?
Yeah, I'm really good.
Get them on your
Absolutely
friggin'
not.
TikTok.
Singing and playing piano, so I would love to be a female, is there Elton John, like playing the piano and singing, or Adele, like.
Can we start this business together?
I can't. I'm going now. This is why my 4-year-old daughter, when they say your children live your dreams, Alba's going for her first, strangely.
You're like them dance mums.
Yeah, she's going now for me. From this, I'm taking Alba for her first ever piano and then singing lesson. Because I'm going to be like, you will live what I was meant. You are going to be the next Adele.
She'll get to like 25 and she'll be like, Mum, I don't want to do this anymore. And you'll be like, you will be doing this.
Please try. Just do it for a bit.
Just stay.
But she does like singing and that. But yeah, I'd be a singer, songwriter, piano player person. So your podcast that you're doing now, Inside Insurance, so interesting for all those who are listening to this. It's Inside Insurance is basically where I just want to. There's nothing out there that's doing it at the minute, and I want it to be not a like learn this. This is what 101. This is what this means. I want it more of a real life. I run an insurance company. I have listeners who aren't anything to do with insurance, but it's like every week it's just like more like a diary sort of entry of this is what's happened this week, or this is something I've learned that I think would be really good for other people to know, or what I think works well within business. And I just want to keep doing it. I'll eventually take on guests. I think I'm going to do a year of Inside Insurance as it is, and then after a year take on guests and try and get different insights.
So the different guests that you have would be in insurance?
Don't know. It depends. It depends because it depends what Inside Insurance goes to.
Right. So what's the audience at the minute then?
Well, I'm presuming insurance people.
Insurance people.
Yeah, unless I've got loads of young teenagers really interested.
Well, you never know.
On LinkedIn. I haven't actually promoted that. It's a podcast, So at the minute, it's just like mainly I've seen it on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
on LinkedIn
that's the only. That's the only way I've seen it.
But it's actually on Apple and Spotify and all that.
You should promote that.
I know. I keep getting these things in. It's actually doing really well. Like when the email said it's been downloaded, and I'm like, how are these people finding this? Like, it's insurance, but there might be a lot of people out there who like insurance. But I just think it's really good. I think the more you can do that others don't will give you a head start. So like if I look at something and I think so the Inside Insurance, I'm not intending to get business through it. It's not something I'm trying to do to get clients. However, it will bring me clients.
It will because you've been an industry leader.
Yeah, naturally.
And a thought leader, yeah.
So if in 2 years' time I've done Inside Insurance, And then someone looks at it and goes, oh my God, she's done 105, 104, whatever it is, 104 episodes of Inside Insurance podcast. No one else has done that.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that's not going to be worth my while, because it will be. And in the meantime, I get to vent off what's been going on for the week. I get to document, and I think also when I'm 50-year-old and I am, I'm the new Martin Lewis. I'm in my billionaire mansion. I'm chilling.
Love it.
I can look back on my
I'm
LinkedIn
there with
live.
the wine.
Yeah, with me Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc. And we have a red wine.
And I can look back and go, bless me. Look at me doing that.
Aww.
Isn't it cute how I started, kids? And they're like, shut up, mum. Like, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's good. It's good to document your story, to remember where you've been and where you've come from. So that's why I do it.
Who are some influential people in your life?
My first ever boss, Louise.
Oh, you mentioned her.
Oh my God, she was insane, Like, she's like, I was 18, she was 5 foot. I think she's 5 foot or foot, like, she might be bang on 5 foot. Beautiful. And she was at Chorus, so it was proper male-dominated steel industry. And she was, like, the head of purchasing. And she just had, when you're, like, looking at someone, you're like, you've got so much about you and so much power and influence, and you don't even, like, she wasn't cocky with it, she wasn't an arsehole, she was just, she just had it. She'd walk in the room and she'd make sure people would listen to her. And I loved it. And I always remember, like, she used to say, like, she was 30-year-old being head of, like, a buy, and now she's, like, head of Range Rover and Jaguar. Like, she's got an unbelievable job. But she always used to say to me, if you put the work in and you want to do something, you make it happen. Yeah. No one's going to stop you. You've just got to kick the doors down to get it. So she really, really inspired me. And she still does. Like, I don't know, we speak once or twice a year, but, like, when someone just sticks in your mind, whenever I think of something and I think it's too hard, I think, no, like, Louise would say, get a grip, get on with it. And my friend Emmy is unbelievable. Like, she not motivates me in terms of, like, go and do it, but she'll always put me in my place, tell me honestly, tell me whether I like it or not, whether she thinks it's going to upset me, she'll tell me the truth. And I think you need that in someone to inspire you to be the best version you can be. And she'll always be honest, and she'll always make sure she's got my back. And I think if you've got someone like that who, in business and in life, wants you to do well, then you're very, very lucky. And Emmy definitely does that for me. So, and she smashes life completely just by being herself. And she's the one who, she probably helped me with the attitude of it is what it is, because she's very like that. If you can't control it, mate, just move on, get over it. Like, that's her attitude.
I love that.
I know, it's good to have someone like that, especially with, like, I've got loads of amazing friends and family, but in terms of, like, because she runs a business as well and she gets it, you're talking to someone who sort of going through exactly the same thing that you're going through, but her attitude towards things is very, like, level and calm, and you need that. So
what have you got in store for the next, I know you said you want to triple staff, so what are some secrets that you can say on here exclusively so I can put as a good title?
So I want to be the biggest, I want to grow a company that is remotely working all over the UK. And obviously it's Protection Parent. I'd like to encourage, like the Money Maker Mothers podcast wasn't a fluke. I did that purposely. I want to attract an audience that want to work and have children, that want to do something, grow a career. And I'd like to be able to be the person that helps them do that. I'd like mothers who might want to work part-time, might want to work full-time, but they can do whatever they want because they're running their own business, and do that remotely all over the UK. And I'm not interested in being the biggest, but I want to be the best. So I want to have a good level of, like, service, advice, making sure you're doing right by the client, building something that people will remember, not because of sales or because you earned the most money, but because I actually made a difference in the industry. And dream, I say it everywhere I go because I know it's going to happen. I will be on This Morning. I will be, when you think of insurance, you'll think of Karla Edwards, you'll think of the Protection Parent, because there's actually nowhere where you can get advice. Like, you can type in on Google, help with life insurance, but you're going to get companies or citizens' advice. I want to be the person where they'll go, look at that. Like, look at what Karla makes it understandable. She, life insurance pays out when you're dead. Critical illness cover is going to pay out if you get cancer. Like, puts it bluntly so you understand it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be. I want to be the Martin Lewis of insurance.